Welcome back. Location research. So we have a checklist for this as well. And don't worry, each item here that's listed, we have got links to and further information about how you can actually do this due diligence. This is just the checklist. We recommend asking your buyer's coach, me, to run a suburb profile PDF report for you. You can then supplement that information using the links in this document. So just let me know if you would like that, and I will email it to you. And it doesn't have to be just one suburb. If you're looking at 3 different suburbs and you want to be able to compare them, let me know, even 4. Suburb profile PDF reports. So there are paid organisations you can subscribe to get those reports. One of them is Suburbs Finder. Another one is HTag, Microburbs, and Domain offers a basic report for free. So we've got links to those Suburbs Finder, HTag, and Microburbs further along in this workbook. Stick around. Demographics, public housing percentages. Public housing is also known as housing commission. So being able to look at a location and seeing the percentage of housing commission homes. Some suburbs have a very low percentage, other suburbs have a higher percentage. And whilst you can't see which actual houses are housing commission houses, that would be a bit wrong, but you can see the percentages in certain localities, which is good if that's something that you're keen to know about. The owner-renters ratio. So some suburbs have more homeowners who actually live in the home. They're owner-occupiers. They're buying their home and they live in their home. Other suburbs have a higher percentage of investors and renters. The school of thought is that owner-occupiers tend to look after their gardens better. They tend to look after their homes better. The neighbourhoods are better. If that's what you're looking for, then you'd go there. If you're a single person looking to rent and you're looking for places that geared up with lots of people just like you, then you'd be looking for a suburb that had lots of units in it. We're looking, say, the Gap opposed to Nunda, for example, in Brisbane. In the city where you live, you'll probably find that there are similar suburbs. One's got more units, one's got more family homes. And you'll find that there are, going back to the owner-renters ratio, which is different from owner-occupiers. I don't know why I just got carried away there, but I did. Owner-renters, then you're also looking at a different demographic there. ERSAD, that's the index of relative socioeconomic advantage and disadvantage. And that just gives you a picture of the wealth of an area or the lack of wealth, which therefore would have you wanting to understand more about the amenities in that area and what types of amenities were there. And I'll show you more about that in this workbook. There will be a link to where you can research that. The age group or family demographics, is it a suburb full of retirees and retirement homes, or is it a suburb full of lots of young children, families, daycare centres, primary schools? Is it full of people who just live on their own in units? Age group and family demographics, you can have a look and see which suburbs have got families. So the average age group is between this age and this age. I'll show you more about that. Ethnicity or other relevant demographics, you might be looking for an area to live in that has a high percentage of Italian people there because that's your heritage. And so I'll show you ideas on how you can research that. And flight paths, do you want to live under a flight path? The thing about flight paths is, I don't know about you, but as long as you're not right next to the airport, they're just part of life, aren't they? It's like traffic, get used to it. The only time I really notice an aeroplane going overhead nowadays is if I'm out in the garden on my own and I'm like, oh, an aeroplane went over. I'm not that close to the airport to get upset by it. Residential amenities. So the locations of the schools and the catchment areas. So just in case you didn't know, some private schools have catchment areas and public schools have catchment areas, and knowing what catchment area you're in. Colleges, universities, daycare centres, kindergartens, hospitals and clinics. So you need to be able to, if say for it's important to be near a daycare centre, well, it'd be great if you could pinpoint those on a map and then be able to see, well, would I be able to easily get there in 5 minutes on my way to work, and being able to work out the logistics of that. Post offices, libraries, ambulance stations. Okay, then we've got the recreational amenities. Looking at these different categories, I've got 9 categories here. Go to the first one. That's just a profile about a suburb. So you can punch some data into one of these softwares and it will spit out a report on a suburb. That's great, except I firmly believe that there's some good suburbs with bad pockets and some not so good suburbs with good pockets. So the suburb report gives you a general understanding, but you still need to dive in a little bit deeper with your location research. We start off with the suburb profile report, and then we can have a look at the demographics. Okay, I want to be near people who are my age group. I want to be near people who are my ethnicity and that sort of thing. I don't know why flight paths is in demographics. Just realized that. That's an error. Oops. What are you doing in there, you tricky little thing? Apologies. So we've got residential amenities and then recreational amenities. So recreational amenities are like the national parks. And, you can get a map that shows you where the barbecues are and if you wanted to live within walking distance of that. Playgrounds and water parks if you've got little children and you live in a hot town. Walking trails and bike trails for people who love to ride bikes around on the weekends. Dog parks if you've got a dog that loves to go to a dog park. We can find all of these on maps. Gyms, swimming pools, sports fields, courts, whatever your fun thing to do is with being physical. Bowling alleys, cinemas, and seniors groups or men's groups, women's groups, youth clubs. So that's recreational amenities as opposed to the residential amenities. The next is the shopping and dining section. That's where we've got access to supermarkets. Do you like organic food stores? Are you really into farmers markets? How close do you want to be towards the town centre? Do you need a convenience store nearby or do you need a shopping centre nearby? What's important to you? Restaurants, coffee shops, fast food. Is fast food important to you? What's nearby and how close is it? And bars and pubs depends what the demographic is as to what you'll find. So if you're looking at a family-centred demographic, there's not going to be a lot of nightlife there, if you understand what I mean. So transportation amenities. All right, so we've got bus stops and how close they are. We can show you different maps for being able to see distances and not just that there's a bus stop there, but where does that bus stop take you? So train stations. And you can measure the distances. Park and ride car lots. So if you're going to live in the hills and then drive in and park your car and take the train in or the bus in, those. Electric scooter rentals. Maybe you don't have a car. Maybe you live in the city and maybe you're happy to hop on a scooter to get you around every now and then. I've personally never been on one, but I want to. This is so fun. I am hoping that's fun. Taxi stands and Uber or Lyft services, petrol stations and EV charging stations, public parking, street parking. So in the neighbourhood that you're looking at, it's very close to the CBD and you have to park on the street. And so what are the rules around that and which streets? Communities. A good way to research the community is to have a look at the Facebook community groups and have a look for hobby groups or different volunteer organisations. You might have a particular church that you want to be nearby. And so those community groups are also a very important factor to consider when you're selecting a location and researching a location. Crime data. Obviously, you can research the crime information regarding different locations. And the 2 softwares that I recommend for that are there's one called Red Suburbs, which I like. It uses the Queensland Police crime data, but it just displays it differently. And of course, the Queensland Police crime map. And then what government projects are there in the area? Check for urban renewal plans in the area and check for broad range development projects. Don't worry, we're going to cover all of that inside the workbook. But this is how you research a location. And from looking at all of this information, and it will take you a while, this is not something you can do in an hour. This is something, if you're seriously looking for a couple of really good locations that you'd like to narrow down your search in, this will take you hours. I would put aside a good 6 hours just so that you can then look at all of this and decide on, okay, this is our location A, location B, and location C. We want to be in around those areas. Location research. The next one will be the actual research of the specific home or property that you're looking at.